Hello, spiritual seeker. This is Deepa Lou. I'm the creative mystic, and I ring this bell to awaken you to your divine presence that's within you 24 hours, 7 days a week. So, today I want to talk with you about your greatness. And I've talked about what is your greatness, but today I want to talk to you about the three biggest beliefs that keep you from your greatness. As a spiritual seeker, have you ever felt like, there's like so much more within you, like that you feel like there's just more that's, waiting to come out, or that you're here to do more than you're doing, or that, there's just something greater than what you've done so far or been so far, that you kind of feel like something's kind of been hidden away within you, or maybe you feel like just like something's missing, because I know I had that feeling. I was fortunate to feel it back in my early 30s, like something's missing. I was making a lot of money, had all the things I wanted and desired, a house, a couple of cars, took trips, that I could feel like something was missing, and that feeling of something's missing, or like you feel like there's more to you, or that there's just something that needs to kind of bubble forth, that's your greatness, your uniqueness, that's tapping you on the shoulder, just saying to you, let me out, let me out. Because everybody who comes on the planet is hardwired for growth, and you're hardwired for your greatness. And I've talked about this before, what greatness is. Greatness is all about your unique, authentic self, that, wants to shine forth. And, nobody else can be the greatness that you are. And I talk about this with my, coaching clients, because I do spiritual success coaching. Talk about how, a lot of times people come, with this desire of a purpose or something they want to really do and fulfill. And that's part of their greatness. Okay. And they look around the world and they go, oh, well, so and so's already doing this, and so else is doing this. And oh, the market has too many people doing this. Why would it be good if I do this? And I always tell them that no, there's no one who will do it like you'll do it, because you're unique. Each person comes in with a specific kind of ray, a specific purpose here, and you're going to do it in your own unique fashion, and that's part of your greatness, is that uniqueness of how you're going to do it. It may be have been done by someone else in a certain way, but you're going to do it in your own unique way. And that's what is your greatness, is about allowing that, not trying to copy someone else or do it the way the other person's doing it, because that's not your greatness. That's just you trying to make maybe a successful business or something. But your greatness is about what's that little inkling of how you would do it. But there are three big beliefs that keep you from your greatness. And I thought this was really important to talk about, because people have a desire to have more in their life, to step into something, their purpose, something bigger and better than often what they have now. And the sign is, like I said, you feel like something's missing, or that you can feel like there's just more, like something, like something's trying to come out in you. One of those two feelings. And that's your greatness, tapping you on that shoulder. And so these three big beliefs that keep you from your greatness from coming out are beliefs that almost everyone I've met has been programmed with. Okay. And that first belief that really stops people is, I'll believe it when I see it. It's the biggest lie that has been given and passed down to us from parent to child, from parent to child, from parent to child, by saying that basically, you're not going to believe something unless you see it. And if you don't believe something unless you see it, it means you're never going to invent anything new, or create something new, or step into that next step that you're supposed to be stepping into, because you're supposed to be growing, into that next stage of growth, whether it's growing spiritually in the next stage in your career, whatever it is, maybe in your relationship, so that it's not stagnating. There's that next step. And if you have to wait to see it before you're going to believe that your relationship can be better, or you can have, a more fulfilling career, or that you can actually do the business that you desire, that you've been too afraid to do. Because I meet people all the time who have jobs, they make some decent money, but it's not really fulfilling them. They just do the job because it makes them good money. Yet there's something in them that they want to do, and that's part of your greatness. So that belief that I'll believe it when I see it keeps people in jobs they don't like, keeps people in relationships they don't like, in the sense of, and I'm not telling you to leave your spouse if you're in a relationship that's having problems. But it's about like that relationship you're in, if you love things about that person, that it actually can be better by maybe healing an emotional wound that you have, or adopting a new way of communicating with each other, or like sharing something spiritual that can actually connect you guys at your heart, so that you have like a more patience and understanding with each other. All of these things can transform the relationship. So you have to start to say, I'll believe it, then I'll see it. So if you can believe that your relationship can get better, or that you can actually have that business, then you're going to start to see it. Because starting to believe, even if you don't know the how, and that's the big thing, is people go, well, how can I believe it if I don't know how? And I say, this is the biggest thing my wife shared with me many years ago, because I used to be like that. Excuse me. I used to be like that. I, used to feel like if I didn't know the how, what, then how can I move forward? Like I have to know how before I can move forward. And my wife would say to me, uh, how is God's job? And when I heard that, I thought, that's true. If I knew the how, it wouldn't be a big goal, And so I really have to just own that I believe this can happen, even if I don't know the how presently, and that how is known by the divine. The divine presence, the divine knowingness, and that I just have to be open and know that, you know, that knowingness can come to me. That if I just start to affirm and make the demand that I desire this thing in my life, that the universe rushes behind, the spirit rushes behind to start to make things happen. People talk about synchronicities, and they think something just, oh, what just happened, and I say, well, no, when you actually make this, prayer demand that this is the desire I have, it's a desire of my heart, I really, 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 this is something I'm here to do, then things start to come together and just help you in that flow on that path. And so that belief of, I'll believe it when I see it, actually prevents you from stepping into your greatness, from letting it out, because you're waiting for something that you see on the physical plane before you're going to take action, before you're going to commit. And so you have to commit and believe before you see. Okay. Now, the second belief that keeps you from your greatness is this belief that criticism and judgment will make you your best. Now, you might be thinking you don't have that belief, and you may not, okay? But I find most people, if you have that voice in your head where it like berates you and criticizes you and judges you, then somewhere in there you believe that this is going to make you better. It's going to make you your best. If you just criticize yourself enough or judge yourself enough, that you're going to do something different. I grew up in a family where my father criticized a lot. And so I thought, and I know in his heart, he thought he was doing it to make me better. Okay. But what it actually did was resulted in me having insecurities about myself, because he was never happy with anything I did. He was never really felt like, oh, this is great, and so I felt like I never really did a great job. But what happened was, even though I was doing, like, got out into the work world and saw evidence that, oh, my employers think I do a great job, so I must be doing a good job. In my inner head was that voice that would criticize me. And that's when I realized, like, I must believe at some level that this criticism and judgment is going to make me better. And so, in order to change that, I had to let that go. Whenever the criticism and judgment, that berating voice would come up, I'd have to say, stop. Thank you for sharing, but this isn't helping. And kind of move to like a positive affirmation of what would help, what will help, what does help, because that programming, that criticism and judgment, it's going to make you your best, it's going to make you better. It's just Again, not true. What it does is it squishes your greatness. It squishes your uniqueness. In fact, a lot of that berating and that judgment comes in the form of worrying about what other people think, and not letting your authentic, unique self out. And I went and got a physical representation. I want to show it here for any of you who are going to watch this on YouTube. This is my little physical representation. I realized it's a little unicorn owl, and it's got all these beautiful multicolors. If you want to see it, go over to YouTube and watch it. But this is a representation of my greatness, my authentic self, because I don't fit the mold. I'm really, really different. I was told when I was young, like, oh, you're too loud, you're too this, you're too that, and I squished it for a long time trying to be what people, wanted, and realized that that's not helping me. It's not working. It was squishing myself. And so it was really important for me to recognize that that criticism and judgment that I had inwardly was then reflected to me on the outward through people telling me, you're too loud. You're never going to get married. You're too this. No one's going to ever, like no man's going to love you. And so, that just those statements were constantly being reflected, but it was my own inner judgment of myself. And when I started to heal that inner judgment, I got less outer judgment because I was accepting myself more. I wasn't berating myself. And so I want to invite you to kind of, if you don't think you have criticism, judgment as a belief that it makes you better, pay attention to your inner dialogue that's going on. Are you, berating yourself? Are you judging yourself? Are you worried about what other people think? Because if you are, at some level, you think that that criticism and judgment is going to make you better. All right. And here's the third one. The third belief that is really the big one, okay, is not enough. This really keeps you from your greatness. Not enough. Now, not enough comes in lots of different forms. Not enough, like you're not enough, right? That there's something wrong with you. There isn't enough, you know, and that shows up with something like, what's wrong with me? That you're not enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not tall enough, old enough, young enough, just enough. You like, make enough. And then the thing with there isn't enough comes the belief that you can't afford it, that there's competition, or war. That's even worse. But the idea that there's not enough makes it so that people think that they can't step into greatness because, like I said earlier, remember I talked about how, oh, there's too many competitors. I can't go, and there's not enough, customers or clients to do that because there's already a ton of people who do this. But the truth is that there's plenty on the planet, okay? Because again, your greatness is your unique, authentic self of how you would do it. So there are a lot of like coaches nowadays, out there coaching. There are life coaches, there are business coaches, there are, lifestyle coaches, there are all kinds of coaches, all right? But they all have a unique, different way of coaching somebody. So like for me, for instance, my unique way is that my spirit guide portals told me they wanted to volunteer and work with my clients. And so they come in and zero in on the very issues that are stopping people from stepping into their purpose and their success that they desire, and the reason they're not acting on their truth and their greatness so that they can actually step to it and overcome it more quickly. And then I apply the practical side, so they know how to actually apply the intuitive guidance they're getting. Because I found like a lot of people who go to intuitive readers and such, they don't actually know how to practically apply it. And so that's my uniqueness in that I bring my portals in to do the coaching. Other coaches have other methods of using. I met someone that does this really cool thing called neurographica, which I'm going to be doing an episode on this in the future. And it's something I've done that I just think is the coolest thing. It worked for me. I want to learn more about it. I want to do it more. But so each person has their own unique way of doing the coaching, even though there's lots of coaches out there. Okay. So it could be you want to have a restaurant. There's tons of restaurants out there. But what? There's all different kinds of food, right? There's, all the different ethnic foods. There's, Italian food and Chinese food and Japanese food, and then there's you know, American food that, and then there's uh, raw restaurants, vegan restaurants. And so, that's just, it just continues on. So the not enough belief, though, of whether it's you think you're not enough or that something's wrong with you, or that there's not enough and that you can't afford it, or there's competition so you can't do it because there's too much competition. There's not enough clients, because that's what that not enough is. When there's competition, if you think there's too much competition, what you're really believing is there's not enough clients, right? There's not enough to go around, and that's what's stopping you. So when you want to step into your greatness, you have to really start to shift and change those beliefs. Once you start to acknowledge that these are false beliefs, they're not true, you can then decide to believe something different. You can then decide to, you know, um, transform that belief into one based on spiritual truth. That's one of the things I do when I work individually with clients, is I help people to start to, how do you transform this programming and belief? See, because that's one of the things you need to do if you really want to have your greatness come forth, is those beliefs are operating in the background all the time, 24/7. In fact, if you're stressed or tired, that's your default mechanism. You just fall right to the programming that you're given. And that's why you'll see whenever you're tired, stressed, hungry is another one, okay, where you'll start to contract your energy because you feel like you have less energy. You'll start to get limited in your thinking. You won't be in possibility when you're coming from that place. And when you're not in possibility, you won't step into your greatness, because those beliefs are there. Those beliefs are all in your subconscious programming, in your subconscious mind, trying to keep you where you are. Because your subconscious programming, remember I said it's your default mechanism, is going to try to keep you safe, secure, and keep everything the same, because your subconscious mind does not like new and different things. You know, your subconscious mind can get bored with doing the same old thing, but it's too scary for it to go out. So you have to go to, to something different, your conscious mind, your superconscious mind, to take that leap into, something new and different. So that take that leap into stepping into your greatness and allowing it to be revealed. So I really ask you, which of these three beliefs that I talked about that are keeping you from your greatness is the one that you think is your biggest struggle, your biggest challenge? And I'd love to, see it in the comment, because I think that if I see enough where I'm getting some comments of which one, I might do a specific episode on that particular belief. But also, I'd just love to see, like, where is it in your psyche of like which belief is your biggest challenge? Okay. And the other things I recommend is, how I showed you my little stuffed animal that's my representation of my greatness, my authentic self, is, look for something that's your representation of your greatness, your unique authentic self, because it's when you're in that time of stress or fatigue or hunger, it's really easy to forget at that moment to really be in that intentional place of your greatness, of letting it out, of like stepping, towards your truth more. And that's when the doubt can come in. The doubt of, oh, there's nothing great about me, or the doubt of, can't, like, if you're taking some steps towards your purpose and your greatness, that's when you'll be thinking, maybe I can't do this. Maybe I'm really not able. I'm not capable. Maybe I'm not good enough for it. And so when you see something to remind you, oh, wait a minute, this is all about how I would do it in my unique own way. And that's why I use this little, unicorn owl, because it reminds me that, like, where have you ever seen a unicorn owl with, multicolored, like rainbow colors all over it? I never had. So when I saw it, I thought, that's my greatness, my authentic self. This, I want this around to remind me, because I always talk about, remembrance is one of the most important things, and we need things around us that help remind us of our own greatness, of our spirit guides, of our spiritual connection, of the spiritual energy that's around us 24/7, that divine presence that's within us, outside of us, all around us, we need reminders. And in order to really let your greatness out, one of the most important things is to have that connection with your divine presence. All right? You have a miraculous day. And remember, greatness is within you. It's time to let it out. And if you resonate with anything I've said, please feel to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Blessings.